My sister was pampered like a princess while I was ignored. At Grandma's 80th, I casually mentioned I bought a Manhattan penthouse. She threw her wine, my mom cried, and my uncle said, I guess we backed the wrong kid. Growing up, everything was your sister this, your sister that. She got a BMW 3 Series for her 16th birthday, red with custom leather seats. I got $50 in a Hallmark card that said, good luck with everything. When she graduated high school, my parents threw a garden party with 200 guests and a live band. When I graduated 2 years later, we went to Olive Garden, just the four of us. My mom spent the whole dinner on her phone posting photos from my sister's college orientation. At 18, I left. Told them I got into state school for computer science. They nodded politely and went back to discussing my sister's sorority rush. I didn't actually go to state school. I went to community college and lived in a basement apartment in Queens that smelled like cigarette smoke and broken dreams. The ceiling leaked. My mattress was on the floor. But I had a laptop and an internet connection, and that's all I needed. For 11 years, I taught myself to code. Built apps nobody used. Failed 3 startups. Ate ramen so often I started rating the brands. Worked night shifts at a data center while debugging code until sunrise. My family, they barely knew I existed. No calls on my birthday. Christmas cards came addressed to the family, which somehow never included me. When I told my mom I'd launched my 4th startup, she said, that's nice, honey, and immediately asked if I'd seen my sister's engagement photos. I stopped trying after that. Then last month, something changed. My 4th startup, the one nobody asked about, a Silicon Valley firm wanted to buy it. The offer came in at $40 million. I stared at that number for 3 days before I believed it was real. I didn't tell anyone, just signed the papers, hired a financial advisor, and bought a penthouse in Manhattan, Upper West Side, floor-to-ceiling windows, view of Central Park, the kind of place I used to walk past at 2 a.m. after my data center shifts, wondering who lived in there. Now I did. Last week was Grandma's 80th birthday. The whole family flew in. It was at this fancy winery in Westchester. My mom planned it like a royal wedding, matching outfits, a slideshow, the works. My sister was the MC, of course, gave this long, tearful speech about legacy and strength. Everyone clapped. I stood in the back with a glass of water, trying to be invisible like always. My cousin found me. Hey, still doing the computer thing? I nodded. Software engineering, yeah. My uncle walked over, laughing. What, like IT support? Fixing printers? I smiled. Not exactly. You still in that tiny place in Brooklyn? He asked. Actually, I moved. Oh yeah? Where to? Queens? Manhattan. He whistled. That's expensive. Must be a shoebox, huh? I looked out at the vineyard for a second. It's a penthouse, actually. Upper West Side. 2 balconies. Pretty clear view of Central Park. My cousin laughed. You're messing with us. Nope, just closed on it last month. My uncle blinked. How the hell did you afford that? Sold my company. $40 million. The silence was immediate. Conversation stopped mid-sentence. Heads turned. Across the room, my sister froze. Her champagne glass started shaking in her hand. My mom, who was standing near the dessert table, dropped her wine. It shattered on the floor. Dark red spreading across the white tiles like a crime scene. She didn't say a word, just stared at me with this look I'd never seen before. Not pride, not happiness, something closer to betrayal. Then she turned and walked straight out to the patio. My sister's face went from shock to rage in about 3 seconds. She looked at me like I'd just confessed to murder. My uncle stood there, processing. Finally, he said quietly, almost to himself, I guess we backed the wrong kid. That's when the room actually went silent. People turned. Grandma looked up from her cake. Even the waiter stopped moving. My sister's cheeks flushed red. She put her glass down, grabbed her purse, and left without a word. Half the family followed her out. I stayed for another hour. Grandma found me on the terrace. Quite the evening, she said. Sorry if I ruined your party, she laughed. You didn't ruin anything. You just told the truth. They're upset because they can't control the narrative anymore. Mom won't even look at me. Your mother's embarrassed. She spent 30 years investing in the wrong stock, and now it's obvious to everyone. That night, my phone exploded. Texts from relatives I hadn't heard from in years. All the same energy. Why didn't you tell us? We could have helped you. Let's catch up soon. Radio silence for a decade. Now suddenly everyone wanted to reconnect. My sister sent one message. Must be nice to rub success in our faces. I replied. I wasn't rubbing anything in anyone's face. Someone asked a question. I answered. Read receipt. No response. My mom called 3 days later. Didn't apologize. Just said, you really embarrassed your sister. Then hung up. I haven't heard from either of them since. But Grandma? She calls twice a week now. Yesterday she said, you know what I've learned in 80 years? The loud ones always think they're winning, but the quiet ones, they're usually the ones who actually figured it out. I thought about that for a long time. My whole life, I'd been invisible. The background character in someone else's story, but I wasn't invisible anymore. And the best part? I didn't need their approval to matter. I already did.